Being prompted again to talk about how long people have to deal with demonic, low frequency negativity and the seemingly endless ascension symptoms. I put these in like quotes, ascension symptoms. There are no such thing as ascension symptoms. What you experience that are called ascension symptoms are highly negative beings who are getting into your field. And they are making you cough. They're making your skin itch. They're giving you ringing in the ears. They're giving you pains in your muscles, pains in your bones. They are giving you brain fog. They are making you forget what you know. There is no forgetting and there is no remembering. These are English words from 3D. Basically, what they refer to are negative beings who are controlling your access to source fields. How did they do it? I don't know. In the end, I don't know. How can something highly negative control a benevolent being like me? They just do. What is the purpose? I used to think it was learning experience. Now I come to the conclusion that it's basically time to call out all the other beings who are observing what's going on planet Earth and tell them, I've already told them this, it's not working, but I've told these other beings, extraterrestrials, higher dimensional beings, gods, goddesses, celestial beings, etc., etc., it's time for you to step in. In other words, stop holding space, sitting there, gazing at your navel and going, Kumbaya, Lord. Kumbaya, oh Lord, navel gazing. Because clearly the negativity on planet Earth and the number of demonics require higher dimensional beings to get off their lazy asses and do something instead of waiting for people to suffer for eternity. If Dr. Hawkins, Dr. David R. Hawkins of various books, Power versus Force, for example, in Power versus Force, he said that the more you travel towards higher wisdom, agape love, enlightenment, the more power you have. Everything 199 and below on the scale of human consciousness is force. All I experience these days is force, which is all low vibe. Now, why is it that force can work on blocking me, who is not a forceful person? The answer is the higher dimensional beings, the higher enlightened beings, have no wisdom right now. They are, and that makes no sense. My reason says that makes no sense at all. So I'm using discernment to say that's a ghoul feed. So what is the truth? The truth is somehow being kept from me being able to tell you why these other beings don't use their power to kick the butt of these lower dimensional versions of people. Yesterday, or the day before, Aaron Dowdy on YouTube made a video that talked about the great bifurcation, which is simply a separation of 3D people from 5D people. And he used the other term, which is densities, going from third density to fourth density. I don't like these terminologies because they're not on the scale of human consciousness. And you have to learn all this new terminology, and I immediately forget it because the negative entity is going to wipe it away from my ability to remember it. So, anyway, I don't know what fourth density is if you're watching Aaron Dowdy, but he did say there is a great split going on. In other words, certain people are on 3D timelines where they're probably going to experience a continuance of the same horrible that you see on the NBC nightly news every night. And other ones that are going to the fifth dimension, if you hold your vibe up high, Your timelines should shift you into a better future where you're not going to even have to watch NBC News because in your timeline, there won't even be an NBC. You won't have any need for it because it's just garbage. And you're basically going to be separating yourself from the garbage. I'm always told by Edgar Jesus Martinez, the Loosh demon, when's this all going to happen? And I always tell Edgar when your loosh or your highly negatively charged field runs out of power. And when's that going to happen? It's not given for me to tell you. I don't know. When is it ever going to happen? God, I hope so. You must have hope in these kind of things because they seem to go on forever and ever. Anyways, if you tune in to Aaron Dowdy and his buddy Victor Otto on YouTube, they generally give you good information, and I generally approve of what they say, other than them charging money for specialized one-on-ones. I think that is wrong. But perhaps today in this so-called 3D world, they still need money, and clearly I still need money in this 3D world, so perhaps it is their way of getting money. If they didn't charge money, maybe they wouldn't have money to rent very expensive condominiums in Maui, and they would live very frugally in their mother's basement. The advantage for them is that they wouldn't be buying into the capitalist economy, which is lowering their vibe and kind of distorting the teachings that they're supposed to be talking about higher consciousness. But then again, if you're going to want to live a little bit while you're here on planet Earth waiting for the world to shift, maybe you do want to have some money coming in so you can, go surfing in the afternoon. This is my surfing t-shirt that I've been wearing today, and I haven't been back to Maui in many a year. The last time I went there, I stayed at the Banana Boat Hostel on Maui. And it is a great hostel. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was dirt cheap, and they have daily outings to like places like whale watching or taking you to the top of Haleakala volcano. On the weekends, they have little beer bashes, and I had a great time there. So if you want to do Maui on a budget, go to the Banana Boat Hostel. And unfortunately, I'm not an American, and I don't live in Arizona. And I noticed that when I put on my Facebook that I live in Cibola, I think I put Arizona, unless they, screwed up with my mind, the negative beings. But if it says Cibola, Arizona, Cibola is actually not in Arizona, it's in Nevada. And Cibola is actually a place that Trash Can Man keeps talking about in Stephen King's great novel, The Stand. And Cibola comes from a Spanish legend of great cities full of gold. The nearest thing to Cibola in modern day times, I think there might actually be a little town called Cibola, Arizona. I must have seen it somewhere. I'm going to have to go back and look. But anyway, the nearest thing to the land of pots of gold in Nevada is Las Wages, Las Vegas, where you go to lose your wages. And it's very American. They basically take places like Paris and turn it into a casino. It's very Americanized. It's not Paris. I've not been to Paris, but I'm sure if you've been to Paris, you would say that Paris Casino in Las Vegas is an Americanized version. It's like American cheese, slices of kind of orange cheese that goes on Big Macs. It belongs on Big Macs, but if you're in France and you ask for cheese, they're going to send you to a fromagerie where you're going to have unpasteurized cheese, all kinds of varieties, very stinky blue cheese or Stilton cheese that you can drink with some sweet wine or an Alsace-Lorraine or something. In Quentin Tarantino's movie Pulp Fiction, they talked about the Big Mac and whatever it was called in France. Something like a Royale or something. I can't remember. Anyways, it was a long time ago since I saw Pulp Fiction. But on this month's version of Mad Magazine, they do reference Quentin Tarantino. I am going now back to Dairy Queen because I'm going to see if they've got American cheese on one of their brazier burgers.